Good morning, and good morning. Happy New Year's Eve. How are you? I've had a good couple of days off, and I decided to come on today and just give us an end of the year kind of thing. We're going to use the word epoch, and we'll talk about what that word means in a minute. But there are some things that happened in 2024 that are, quite interesting, and they will be historical facts that some of you will remember, some of you will try to forget, but nonetheless, they are there. They occurred, so we're going to go through some of them. I'm going to start off with some fun stuff this morning because I realized that I don't want this to be heavy duty stuff. I want it to be something that is playful, but also enlightening, So uh, they had the top trend in clothing for 2024. And I thought that was quite interesting. Um, and some of these things I've never seen. So obviously it didn't make it here to where I live in Florida. But they had the top 10 trends of 2024 in regards to clothing. And it said first was the polo shirt. And they said the polo shirt made its entrance where everybody wanted a polo shirt. I didn't, so I'm okay. But there are others who did want it. Then they said a wide leg formal shorts. Wide leg formal shorts. Don't know where that would, well, I would never wear them. There's just no way I would ever wear that. The color off white took on its own understanding this year. So it was the color of choice for a lot of people. But then I also saw a lot of orange and a lot of yellow. And towards the end of towards the end of summer and into the fall, that deep Kelly green was making a hit for a lot of people. I saw a lot of people in it. So I don't know if off-white just happened to be the number one color, but other colors made their way. Then this also said the V-neck, the V-neck sweaters and shirts, polos, all of those kinds of things that had a V-neck approach to the look at the neck. Also, they said those who were athletic, sophistication, where they upscaled athletic wear. I don't know if you were a part of that, but I know athletic wear has gotten more and more and more expensive. So it's already upscaled when it comes to how much you have to pay for it. So for it to be upscaled for other things, there you go. Then they said patent leather loafers. Who would have thought? Patent leather loafers. Flat-heeled Mary Janes. And I don't know if many of you remember Mary Janes, but they were always the shoes that were kind of round-toed, but then they had a buckle, a band that went over from one side to another that buckled up. They said that was a big thing. Then the gray denim was a big thing. Anyway, they said lustrous fabric. So I guess that might have been, I don't know, because it doesn't explain. So maybe that was silks. I don't know what it is. And then leopard print. And I've seen a lot of women and men too, in leopard shawls, leopard pocketbooks, leopard, hats. They've come out with the leopard. So the leopard to me wasn't just this year, it was last year too. So it just seemed to have made its entrance very well, marked by the fact that 2024 upped it on another level. Let's see some of the other things that happened in 2024 before we go to our word of epoch. And epoch it's a particular period of time of when distinctive features or events occurred. And so we know that is true. Here's some other significant events of 2024. It says, and these were just depicted by the Washington Post on December 11th. They wrote these up. It said, a black shoe sits on the stage, carpeted red, where a presidential candidate has just escaped an assassination attempt. That was number one. Number two, it says, a barefoot Man clings to the hood of a car as the torment of a brown floodwater seems about to sweep him away. Number three, a young girl burned in an Israeli air's attack is wrapped in gauze and bandages in hospital in Lebanon. And that was from it says Human Nature, Mother Nature, Fire, Prayer, War, Joy, and Tears are all the emotions that were dealt with during that time. Number four, it says a woman cries at the grave of her husband who had been killed when a ship knocked down a bridge in Baltimore. These were significant things going on. It says a stubborn, gnarled, blossoming cherry tree, an Olympian with an American flag, the feet of a dead migrant by the river in Texas. And it says as 2024 comes to an end and we wonder at all its events, here is a look back through the eyes of the photographers. And those are some of the things that they did. They had other things, but those are the ones that were the top. And it also says Kamala Harris is defeated as the country re-elects Donald Trump to be at the office of the President of the United States. Number two, it says Olympics in Paris. Simone Biles wins all around gold in gymnastics, and the U.S. ended up with 126 medals over China and Japan, who had 91 and 94, respectively. That's good stuff. And as of yesterday, our president, Jimmy Carter, passed away at the age of 100 years of age. He had been more favored after his 4 years as president. He was married to his wife, Rosalind, for 77 years, longer than many of us have even been in existence ourselves. That's how long they had been married. In terms of other things, Wikipedia talks about, of course, that the presidential election was probably the most, probably in history, that has been hyped up so far. And, it gave one view on one side, but another view actually won. So they said that was just an interesting account of how politics works. If the people don't come to vote, you can't say that the person that they might be voting for wins unless they come out. Something has to happen. And then, of course, TikTok is still in the eyes and ears of people. And, people love TikTok, but, now they're trying to make a deal under the new administration to come in on January 20th to see if they can make it where TikTok is still available to those of us here in America. So anyway, those are some of the fine things. Of course, food prices went up. And then these things were interesting to me. It says Spirit Airlines operator Odyssey for a profit hospital chain separate. These were all the things that apparently were ended up in the blowout or about to close down or have already closed. It says Red Lobster, TGI Fridays, but it says the busing company of Coach USA, it did its thing where it was having its problems closing or filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Tupperware, I didn't even know that one. Of course, I haven't bought Tupperware in years, but Tupperware is also on the list for filing Chapter 11. So several major hurricanes and tornadoes broke out in the country of the United States, of course, including the tornado outbreak sequence of May 19th to the 27th, Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton. So we've been through a lot in 2024. We really and truthfully have. And so we come up with the word epoch. And I did the word epoch maybe 2 years ago, year and a half years ago, but it's a good word. Hi, Debbie. How are you, my friend? Wow. How's everything? Just put a note in there and tell me you're all right and things are improving, or if we'll still continue to pray no matter what. We will continue to pray. But good to see you in the space. But epoch, it says a particular period of time marked by distinctive features and events. 2024 has had some distinctive events. Even if they're not on a grand scale, they may be personally for us, things that are happening. Okay. Things are improving. Perfect. Perfect. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So when we talk about epoch, we're talking about the age of things. Um, keep up the prayers and thank you all. Absolutely. The prayers will continue to go up. When we talk about epoch, it's the age, the date, the era, the span, the time. So all of those things are what we're talking about when we say that word epoch, EPOCH. And it says, we break it down, and it starts with the breaking down of what is it. It could be an era of time, meaning over a 5-year period, a 10-year period, a 20-year period. You see major things happen that hadn't happened in the prior amount of time, 20 years, 5 years, 1 year. So anyway, it talks about the era. So I said era for my E, a period of time marked by distinctive character and events. It's the age. Good morning, Joan. Debbie's here. She's been going through something, but she so wants to still have us keep up the prayers. So when we talk about epoch, EPOCH, I say the era is what we're talking about, which is going to deal with the stage, the generation, the day, the term, the time, the cycle. All of that has to do with an era of time and the events that happen therein, which is called an epoch. And so we look at that and we probably don't even know the word until we realize that it's talking about things that we've been through, things that we witnessed, things that we know to be frightening, or it might be that they're costly, such as food prices, or it might be that there's been major, damage to property and personal, liabilities. So there it is. Edgy, yes. Edgy is a good word. Epoch is edgy because I think epoch comes without notice of any kind. We don't know sometimes we have no idea of what is going to happen or the remnants from it having happened. We don't even know what the fallout is, except we see it as it unfolds, like especially after a hurricane, and you have all the devastation and you have all of sometimes there's death, and sometimes there's like years, of trying to rebuild. And those things have happened within the last few years. We've seen them happen, and I don't know, for me the climate just keeps getting more and more tough on us. As we live, we see it's hotter when it's supposed to be colder when it's supposed to be hotter. Hurricanes and all kinds of stuff. Continued prayers for you, Debbie. Thank you. Thank you, Joan. When we move on in our word of epoch, the P for me is for the period. There's a period of time these things happen, and we don't even know, until we experience it, what period we've been through. It could be a period of destruction. It could be a period of unrest, such as riots. It could be, a period of fear because, there's, a lot of murders or a lot of crime. In fact, that was on one of the lists that I read too, that crime was up and causing a lot of fear in people. So the period talks about what are we going through. And a period is a rather large interval of time that is meaningful in the life of a person or in history because of its particular characteristics, a period of illness, a period of great profitability for a company, or a period of social unrest. So all those things, even though I hadn't read that part again, I wrote it, put it on there because it came from the dictionary. But, just it reaffirms or restates what I've already said. It's painful. Yes, a period of pain. Yes, that's excellent. So the period is the age, the course. It could be the cycle, the date, the duration. How many of us have gone through things and it seems like they will never, ever end? We have. I mean, I thought the pandemic was something that we would be living out for years because, we did live through it for close to 2. And then you think about it, you're looking out your door. Is it safe to go out? Is it safe to let people in your house or in your space? And some people still have the remnants of what the COVID, epidemic did to them personally. They might have lost, family members or friends. They might have lost that, they might themselves might have been sick and lost time and memory and limbs or whatever. So yeah, it caused a great deal of problems. Thank you there. That's great, Joan. Great. Caused a great deal of unrest in us. We were, you know, we couldn't rest because of what was going on. But the period, once again, is the age. It's the age, the course, the cycle, the date, the duration, the era, the season. Because sometimes we have to admit that we've been through a season of whatever it is. Panic. Ooh, that's even good too. Wow. I remember, the first time, they were telling everybody that they need to stay home. I said, stay home. Whoever stays home like that, that's just crazy, because we had never heard of it. In our lifetime, it was just something that was totally, totally new. But once you realize that the virus could spread so easily just by being in the presence of someone, then it made sense that it was good to stay home. And then also it says the period talks about it covering a span of time. We move on in our word of epoch, which talks about marking distinctive events or features. We move on to the occasion, and I don't know about you, but are there some occasions that occurred in 2024 for you that are memorable or that are fearful or frightening or exciting and loving and caring? What are they? Because sometimes we forget because something else comes along and wipes out all the goodness that we were feeling. Ordeal. That's great. Because it is an ordeal, what we're going through. I said it was an occasion for me, but for others, it may be an ordeal. But the occasion says it's a particular time, especially by certain circumstances or occurrences, meaning that it is what it is. You can't describe it any other way than what you see and what you're experiencing as you're going through something. The OPEG, oh, that's good. Wow, that's a good word. OPEG. It's almost like it's there and it's not there. It's you can say you've been through it or into it, but you don't know how to deal with it because it becomes kind of blurry and everything after that. The occasion also talks about it being special and sometimes important in terms of our time, the event, or the ceremony. I don't know if there was a wedding, opt out. I know that's right. If we could opt out, that would be good. Um, Sometimes there's weddings, sometimes funerals. We were talking, when I went home 2 years ago for my brother's funeral. One of the things we said is that a lot of times family doesn't get together unless there's a funeral. Sometimes it might be a wedding, but a lot of times, people, as my mother used to say, and auntie, shack and pack. They would just stay with each other, and when it was time to leave, you go your way and they go their way. That was it. There was no marriage attached to it. But the occasion talks about it being an incident, a moment. How many of us have had moments that lived on for a long time after that moment was over, such as if we were frightened or if we were excited? I have a friend whose son just got engaged, he and his girlfriend. I was excited for them. I was excited. Good morning. 2 years ago from my brother's funeral. Sometimes it might be a wedding, but a lot of times, people. That's right. That's right. I think we make good efforts sometimes to try to get with each other, but sometimes we can't. It might be the money that's holding us back. It might be the job commitment. It might be family. It might be us. Lately I've been seeing all the planes and all the accidents, and I'm not afraid of planes, but I believe in God. Don't get me wrong, but every once in a while I get a little nervous. I said, "Wow, they skidding down on the ground and then crashing into." And what was that? Was it Indonesia? I can't remember where it was, but it was a bad accident. And I think it was yesterday morning, or it might have been the prior morning, but it was horrible. I think they said 179 people passed away. Terrible, terrible. So my prayer is that, I'm always saying, cover me, God, cover me. Cover those I love, cover those I know, cover those I care about, because that's all we can do. Opinions, yes. Sometimes opinions can have you in that epoch period where they're them and us. What they think and what I think. There you go. When we move in our word of epoch, we talk about the cycle, because sometimes as we're going through things, it's a cycle. So when we're done with the cycle, it's not there anymore. It's behind us. When we're going through things, sometimes we can't see, the forest for the trees because we're in it. But once we get back far enough away from it, then it becomes more a part of a view that is not only able to be witnessed, but able to be acknowledged in such a way that says, wow, that is the forest. I'm not in it, but I see it. I'm not caught up. I'm not caught up. Now I'm on the other side of a problem. I'm on the other side of what's going on with me that's been troubling. Good morning, Adelia. How are you, sweet pea? Good to see you in the space. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to everybody. I think I said my good morning earlier, but good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Cautious. That's a good word. Sometimes we do have to be cautious no matter what. We can go out of our houses and, get distracted, looking for something. I try to do everything I can before I get in my car, because I know yesterday I was watching, there was somebody in front of me, and I don't know, they were in such a hurry. They were dodging in and out of traffic. And all I said, if I was a distracted driver, I would probably be, maybe not a statistic, because even though he was going in and out, he wasn't speeding, but he was moving up fast enough around us that you could see him, that he moved up on the car he was behind to move over in front of the car that he wanted to get in front of. I don't take chances on the road. I try to do what I'm supposed to do. Right. Comprehension, yes, and being creative. All of those things pretty much says that that's our cycle. If we're creative in looking at our lives, some things we still can't avoid, no matter how creative we want to be, but in terms of our comprehension, we can remember where we've been. We can remember the things that have happened to us that might have been, happy or shocking or sad or depressing or whatever adjective you want to add to that. We know when we've been someplace, and those things help us in our understanding of what our epoch period has been. If it's been a good one, a bad one, or, kind of in between, not neither good nor bad. But the cycle that I wrote says it talks about any complete round of series of occurrences that may repeat or is repeated. So sometimes, the cycle may be that it comes again. Like every year, we know that those of us who live in certain parts of the southern, east coast of the country, we're going to see hurricanes. Either it's going to be a threat, or it may be, a level, whatever. So we've seen those, and we know that every year they come. And in fact, that we just ended up leaving the hurricane season at the end of November 30th. Well, I always thought it was November 1st. And then I listened to the weatherman one day. He says, well, we still have another 30 days. Another 30 days. Well, it was 29, really. So yes, that's how it is. But anyway, when we're looking at the cycle, we're looking at the course that we might be on or in. We're looking at the period of time how it's pulling on us, left, right, or leaving us in the middle. Rather, there's a rhythm to it. Have you ever experienced things that that your body understands that there's a rhythm to some of the things that's happened, and it may happen again, or because certain people can create the same mess that they did before, that you see it, you experience it. But doesn't mean that you're going to be able to avoid it. unless you just kind of disassociate. But sometimes things just repeat themselves. They're coming back around again for whatever the reason. So it says it could be the revolution, it could be just the total round of it, or it could be the series. It's just a series. It's going to come again every year at this time, And some of us even know that some of the fun things that we may do, like maybe Mardi Gras, every year Mardi Gras comes around, and some people really look forward to it, and they know the period's going to run and the course it's going to take, especially if you're in Mobile or if you move on to New Orleans, or it's Carnivale, in Rio de Janeiro, or it's Carnivale if you're in Europe. So it's really fun. It's fun, but that's the way it's done. That's the way it's done. It comes around. We know the course is going to take, and it's not a negative for some people. It's a very positive time of year for them. In fact, some people leave up their trees so that they continue to decorate the trees with the Mardi Gras stuff soon as the Christmas stuff is removed off the tree. It's kind of cool. I haven't done it yet. But my tree is so small. I told you it was a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. So Charlie Brown just has branches. And so I just hang things on the branches, but they have no greenery. It's a brown tree. Well, that's just my take, okay? And last thing we have, yay, is for my E. My E in this word, actually my H in this word is for happenstance. It just happens. It occurs. It's just something that comes about. And happenstance just means that it is an occurrence. It will come periodically with not even anything that we have to do with it, but we may be caught up in it. And yes, Debbie, we do need hope sometime with some of the things that happen around us. We see them, we see it, we experience it, we can acknowledge it. Sometimes we even hate it, but nevertheless, it may be coming. And so we have to decide, are we comfortable with it? And then we have to be comfortable after it leaves. How do we heal? Ooh. And Debbie wrote that down. Thank you, Debbie. How do we heal? How do we heal from something that has frightened us, something that has made us, terrified, to exist because we've been frightened so well. I always worry about, my daughter or, people that get older and, what is their defense? What is their defense? And, I don't worry as much about myself. But if you ever come to my house, it is very well lit and hooked right directly up to, you touch one of those beams. That's it. It's going to light up. And if I don't answer, if it's a doorbell ring, well, then it goes immediately to, letting other folks know, hey, she in there if something's wrong. And sometimes we need to have our own precautions. What do we do when we're hit with the possibility of something changing our lives, changing our ability to say that we're all right. We're all right. So EPOCH is just those things. But, as for some of you, before you came on, I talked about the major epochs, what of course was that they reelected president-to-be Donald A. Trump. They did. Kamala Harris lost in a landslide, it seems that to be, and many of the other seats in the houses were also lost. So that's something to recall as being a major change from what was expected, because I thought the original projectors said that they thought that she had a great chance of winning. Well, you can't always pay attention to what people say. You have to wait until it happens. And in this case, that was an epoch, because it certainly is something that was memorable for this year. The Olympics are memorable. And there's other things. I'm quite sure personally we have our own memories of what became important for us that we will take into 2025. And on that note, I'm going to ask you, is there anything that you all want to say before you leave 2024 about how 2025 treated you? It treated me okay. I have no complaints. I don't. For me, I kept the prayers up for myself and others. Thank you. I still am doing what I'm doing, and I do have something I need to show you all that I'm excited about. Hold on one second. I forgot to bring it in the kitchen. Hold on. They wrote an article with you all in mind of having worked with me through the years. So when I go out, I have a 2024 article. Y'all see it? Isn't that cool? 24, and it says the power. It says pro tips, the power of letting go. And it was used on the word that you all were here with me. It's called destitute. And destitute is when you realize that there's stuff you have that you can get rid of. And that was the one where I explained about having my mother's stuff in storage for 9 years. No, I think it was close to 10, excuse me, close to 10 years. And I ended up with, being able to let it go. Yes. But anyway, thank you. Happy New Year to you, Joan. Happy New Year to you, Debbie, Ardelia, whoever else is there that I don't see. But I know there's some other people. But I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. If all is well, I'll be here on Friday. I want you all to have a safe New Year. Watch your surroundings. If you're going to any place that has a lot of people, I say wear a mask. But if you're just going to have family and friends, enjoy yourselves. Enjoy yourselves tremendously. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, you and Carney. Happy New Year to you guys, too. But I'll see you all because we'll be at church. So we'll be ringing in the new year at our church, which is Greater Little Rock Baptist Church. We'll be doing that. And on New Year's Eve, which is tomorrow night, we'll be singing and listening to a good message coming that tomorrow night by Dr. Joseph Marshall. And then I'll also mention my pastor, Dr. Lonnie D. Wesley III at Greater Little Rock. But I'm excited for everybody. I hope you all have a safe New Year coming in, and look for me on Friday. I will be back with another word, and we're going to delve into some new words for 2025. Okay. Love you guys very much. Appreciate you. Be safe. Okay. Bye-bye. Love you. Thank you. Silver is up. That's right.